on, let me just say one thing. We have a couple of housekeeping issues before we begin. So if you like what you heard today and you want to share it on social media, use the hashtag #8FoundersHouse. So please, and then we'll find you and then we'll help amplify your message. Other than that, we are going to leave 5 minutes toward the end for your questions. So please think of a question for these incredible tables. These very rare moments when you get to ask a customized question of these incredible women. So please think of one. All right, let's begin. So as we covered in AIM and we talked about a bit earlier, women, the last few years, we've started companies at almost nearly twice the rate of men. And the numbers have been higher for women too. So it's a lot to go about, a lot to get excited about. That's kind of where the news beginning ends to some degree. Venture funding is still very, very limited among female-founded companies. Hey, you were among the first actually to start tracking the flow of funding to female founders. Take us back to 1998 when you began looking into this and what's kind of changed since then.
We live in USA Network. Bill Clinton, Bill asked me to chair the National Women's Council, which is really to make grants on the advancement of women. Actually, things on my vote, I wanted to get capital to women. So I started on a journey. I was back in San Francisco at the time on the board of Oracle, and I said, I've got to do something to get more capital behind women-owned businesses. This is my journey to take. I want to take it. I was really interested to start off because I want to tell you, in 1999, when we just got our first class, people said to me, women don't have businesses that you want to invest in. And I said, well, let's find out. I don't believe that. Technology and life sciences, we went out and found companies. 350 applied. We chose 26 in the first class. They presented in January of 2000. 26 women got on a big stage at the Oracle Conference Center and presented. I know from the media, it's showtime. You're going to show or you're going to go. I know. And I was so proud of those women. And you know what happened? 22 got funded. 2 other companies merged. One woman sold a company for $100 million. Only one woman in that class did not get funded. And ever since then, we've been added really a network. It is about a network. It's about entrepreneurs, investors, lawyers, accountants, business people. It's about people that can take you all the way to growth, scalability, and sustainability. From our perspective, that's the business we're in. And we know that this will have an impact. Today, let me just say something. I never knew I would be on this journey for 25 years. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. We're kicking it off right now. I have a lot to say about the future, but I won't let my panelists speak. But I must say to you that we have to take an aggressive approach to the future because I am personally not willing to let women stay out there and say, women only raise 2% of venture capital. We get into that later. But I will not permit women to be stuck for 20 years in the same little truck. So I got a couple of things, okay? All right.
That's an excellent segue. So obviously you mentioned the 2% number. That number spikes pretty considerably when the founding team mixes in male pronouns as well. So it's not all bad news, right? At the same time, if we do keep seeing the 2% number or anything between 1%, frankly, in 2024, it's getting potentially worse. But so that's just encouraging, and it makes me wonder, should we be looking at other methods? Like, obviously, there's a lot to know about human entrepreneurship. I'm looking at and seeing female founders right now, and there's amazing stories of accomplishment, and you all should be very proud, but like, should we be looking at other methods of success?
Yes, we should. Happy International Women's Day, everybody. This is one of my favorite days. My life's work is advancing women and girls, so outside of my kid's birthday and my birthday, this is one of my favorite days, and I feel very, very honored to be here on the stage stage with Miss K. You have done so much to advance women and women's leadership and entrepreneurship. And with Elaine, who is our social entrepreneur here on the stage, yes, we should be looking at different metrics. The TORY BURCH Foundation is very committed to women's economic empowerment. We talk about investing in women entrepreneurs. You should know if you have ever bought a Tory Burch bag, if you've ever bought a Tory Burch pair of shoes, a Reba flat, a dress, you have invested in women entrepreneurs. A percentage of everything that you buy goes to ensure that women entrepreneurs who are very at the early stages of their business, our first milestone is to get them past the $1 million mark in revenue, which is that first milestone that really leads to sustainability and that really leads to an enduring business. Because we're committed to women's economic power, we're interested in ownership. So we are not looking at some of the same metrics that we traditionally look at when we're thinking about who has potential when it comes to their business. In part, because of the statistic that you just shared, a lot of women don't have access early on to the capital, which means that they have to have things like repeat customers, which means that they really have to look at their profit margin because they need revenue for their businesses. So we are looking at the companies that really create profit margin percentage. We're looking at the retention rate of their customers. We're looking at something that a lot of people don't look at, which is their community orientation. Kate Lucio is here in the audience, and she is the queen of partnerships. How are you making the boat bigger for more women entrepreneurs so that we can all thrive and so we can all rise? But we're very interested in, as Rebecca Mintoff said earlier, founders that are in it for the long haul. We're not interested in the one-hit wonder. We're interested in enduring, sustainable businesses that are growing, but at a very slow rate. In all fairness to a lot of people who don't have LPs that we need to return a fund to, we're a C3, we're a 501c3. But I think it's really important that we look at what is the impact this entrepreneurial business is having in the world. I think it's important that we look at how strong their business fundamentals are. And I think it's important that we look at who they associate with, who they surround themselves with, and are they partnering, figuring out ways to create larger ecosystems for their industry or for their area.
I love that. It's so inspiring. Elaine, in your situation, you are an entrepreneur, of course, but you also run a nonprofit. So to some degree, you probably share some of these appreciation for other metrics, especially as a nonprofit founder. I mean, you have to showcase these metrics all the time. How are you looking towards that as you grow your nonprofit?
Well, first of all, we're not even a year old yet. We started this organization, I started this organization April of last year while pregnant with my second child, who's now 4 months old. And one thing that thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm up here making sentences, you guys. I'm up here making sense. That is my metric for success today. No, but truly it's interesting. I think as a social impact entrepreneur that's working in the maternal health space, I am looking at the conversation of metrics on its head. I am interested in talking about the value of one life, the value of saving one mother's life. If I can save one mother's life, then I've done my work. And I think,
Tell us a little bit about the BIRTHFUND.
so what we do at the BIRTHFUND is we fund births for women and families who do not have access to quality, holistic maternal health care, specifically midwifery care, which is known to save 80% of the maternal mortality and maternal deaths in this country. 80% could be averted with midwifery care, and yet midwifery care is not covered by insurance. How well? So when we look at the success of birthing outcomes in other countries all across the globe, those countries are getting right and we are getting wrong, is that midwifery is the default health care in all of these other countries. In this country, not only is it not covered by insurance, but there is a deep-rooted stigma around midwifery care that needs to be deconstructed in order to help them see the life-saving benefits. But not only life-saving, joy is a metric. When we're talking about birth experiences in this country where 50% of mothers and families describe their birth as traumatic. In the richest country in the world, 150% of women are calling their birth traumatic. So we have a ticket to success on top of keeping mothers alive to raise the babies that they sacrificed to bring into this world. It's joy in childbirth, joy in their postpartum stage. And so it takes something to make that possible for families who don't have access. Absolutely.
So you need to be able to tell, like, the story about say your God. Maybe that makes an impact on, you know, what developers in my career. Let's face legacy in the future.
100%. A really big part of what we do at BIRTHFUND, on top of raising money to fund births one-to-one, and I want to underscore the value of every single life, every single family. You know, when I was starting this, I remember coming up against some of the things that you're talking about around, like, you know, legal and metric. It's just worth it. If I can't scale this in a year or in 6 years, it's still worth it. And what I came back to is our tagline, which is, you know, we are safeguarding families one birth at a time. And the storytelling that we're doing around each of those families having safer, healthier birth experiences is what's going to create the catalyst for systematic change at scale, right? But it starts with every story, every mother honoring their experiences and helping people see that there are alternative pathways to better, safer care in this country. And so, yeah, one of the measures for success is around storytelling and narrative change around birth in general. We're not here just to fear monger. We're not here just to tell you you might die if you give birth in this country. We're here to show you and open up your pathways to doing birth in a safer way that feels more empowering.
I think there's and because what Elaine is bringing attention to is a social problem that also I feel that business has a role to play. One of the things that we're in the middle of our fellow selection process, the TORY BURCH Foundation selects entrepreneurs every single year. We have one in our audience right now, DJ Lazada. Thank you. But one of the things that I was looking at, in part of some of my conversations with you and the work that you're doing, were who are the entrepreneurs out there that are building businesses that are addressing maternal health. We have one in our portfolio now. Her name is Christine Revere. She's in Michigan. She has a company called Gold Coast that is working to ensure that more women have access to this kind of care. So I think it's really important that when we think about the metrics of how we're redefining women in business, that we think about how we're solving a business problem and a social problem simultaneously.
Hey, I'd love to have you chime in here. What are some things that we should be talking about instead of raising the impact?
Well, I mean, the importance that women play in the world and what we want to see develop in the communities that they have. You see around here, you look around here, you see Canada, right? You see, now I know many people use Canada, right? Canada's up in our first class from Australia. There are many countries, you know, Irola, Contact, Zipcar, I could go on and on. S-File, most recent IPO. Why do I care about that? I care that we live in a capitalist society. So, you know, money makes a difference, and people, we are creating a flywheel effect for 238 M&As we've had, 28 IPOs. These women are coming back, and they're investing in IOU. We're going to create this flywheel effect so that people come back and support the people coming behind them. And that was really the enforcer behind also Springboard actually works with people to get this funding. So I'm just saying to this group, it's really important why women actually have sustainable businesses, whether that's a small business or a business to go. Our companies have created over 61 billion of value, billions will be. So be forward as far as I'm concerned. Be forward. Private stuff, so a business like this $1 billion. It's a journey. We're going on it together, right? Yeah.
You can hear me? I was just saying I wonder if the media is partially responsible for, I guess, throwing about venture capital as much as we do.
Yes, and also, I mean, not the need that I've ever had. So what I can speak to is my time as the CEO, I always think about each of us as cultural agendas. And what we can do in this matter of our platform as individuals, we each have a platform and you each have resources that you can invest in anyway. I think what we did at TIFFANY was figure out how to talk about the issues that matter in our time and how to galvanize the community and people to recognize the power that they have to make a difference on the issues that matter. I think very similarly in the building of BIRTHFUND, I've actually leveraged the media to tell stories that help humanize otherwise what is considered mostly a fringe issue, which is, about mental health. And, it's not necessarily a sexy issue, it's not well funded, it's not something that people lean into, but I have a population. But and everybody has a mother.
So say something about the market. When we started Springboard, there were exactly 1% of the angel investors in the United States were women. Today it's 47% of the angel investors are women. This shows a growing marketplace. Today, there were no VC women who ran venture funds. Today, 17% of the venture funds are run by women. And a lot of them are smaller funds, but they're growing up. And I really think it's really important for people to understand that this is a burgeoning market, that we're all kind of plays in it. So I think, in a place where the social good that we're doing, in a place where the small marketplace, you got to remember that money does think about us in the world today, and women can have and make money and invest in money. And that's really what we're looking for, this flywheel effect to keep it growing and growing. We are not going to talk about 2% of women in venture capital for another years. Women founders and co-founders raise over 20%. Believe me, the women are leading the way, the CEOs and the men here, we love our co-founders. So read the third one talking about women. Diversified teams are the best and the strongest teams. That we see in the marketplace. It's really important for people to each talk about that more.
One of the misnomers, yes, is about the role that venture capital plays, but it's also about not understanding the role that quote-unquote small business plays, because it's actually not small. Our economy is driven by what we refer to as small business. In fact, the vast majority of businesses are not the NVIDIA or the Amazon or any company that's going across the ticker board at the bottom. And right now, we're in an environment in which people are really hurting. I mean, this last election, the results of it are directly tied to people feeling that they're hurting. And they're hurting because the economic levers that we used to depend on in order to ensure economic mobility are being passed away at. None of us ever had access to wealth transfer, but you used to be able to buy a home, and now you can't. You used to be able to save for retirement, and now you can't. Entrepreneurship is really the last lever of being able to attain economic mobility for your family. And so when we talk about investing in the underrepresented or the alternative or the non-VC backed founder, and I'll tell you, I'm a founder who is VC backed, but at the same time, it's really important for us to shift the narrative and for us to really throw our weight towards something, by the way, that over 80% of Americans, according to which is that business is good for the country, particularly small business, and that entrepreneurs are democratic people that we should all be
is if they're scaling years or they're scaling period that are not making the traction that they want to make. When is it a positive? I heard you say that we're one of it, you know, we're one person, one reason, one situation. When is that something that we need to aim higher at, that we increase the volume of the business?
Well, I'm in a nonprofit space, so it's definitely different, but I would love to connect with you to see if there's synergy around the others that we serve and the services that we provide. I'm going to leave room for you all to jump in here and speak directly to kind of a nonprofit business, but I would just say, I mean, we've raised over $2.2 million around what we're doing in the social entrepreneurship space in under a year, and I am not a fundraiser, and I am not a nonprofit person or a public health expert. I am operating with the power of my story, the power of the story of the women and families that we serve, and for the people that are invested, which range from individuals like Serena Williams and National Media to companies like SoFi to unlock almost over $500 million at launch because they saw the value of what we're doing.
Sorry to interrupt. Hey, do you have a response for this? Elaine, sorry.
I think, you know, you have to really focus on partnerships that you can develop. It's very difficult to go alone. If you can find a partner for your business, not just an investor, but a partner for your business that wants to scale through. You know, we also do this in Fashion Tech Lab, which are some retail tech, and it's really for the companies to find those big other retail companies that they're doing technology for, and just work for your company, to do a pilot with you. This is very important. Scale information, unvarnished feedback from the market you're trying to enter. So I would suggest
Come and talk to Kate Luzio. Raise your hand, Kate. Kate is the queen of partnerships.
I'm so sorry we're out of time, and that's the only reason I'm so sorry.
Just to finish my thought, what I was saying is that we have, even though we are a social justice platform and that we're nonprofit, we have the influence of really big partners that see the value in maternal health care and that would understand the intersection between what you're doing and what we're doing. And I do think partnerships is the way to move the business forward. And so just because we're a nonprofit doesn't mean that we can't be a really additive, valuable partner for you. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you. Let's talk later.
Thank you so much.